Scrappers, when you're looking to scrap Romex, make more money with it, and upgrade it, we're going to show you how to strip Romex wire and what things you should and should not look for. So here we have a couple of pieces. Here's a longer piece of Romex, just showing you a couple different colors, white, yellow. A lot of this depends on who makes it, where it's going into. Generally, you're going to find Romex inside of light industrial or in houses. Most homes nowadays are run with aluminum BX inside of the walls, but there could be some Romex as well. Now, when you look at Romex, they generally have 3 different strands inside. What's nice about it is there's a ground, and that's your bare bright that's always like that. And then you have the 2 pieces that are going to be next to it. So when you go to strip Romex, you could buy a wire stripper, and we'll have a link on the video to show you different wire strippers that we recommend and ones that will be able to strip Romex. But a couple of things you want to keep in mind. One, this is relatively straight, but if you had a piece of Romex that was kind of crinkled around, wrapped around like this is going to make it hard to strip. When you go to take your knife to be able to cut it around, it's going to make it difficult and your fingers will be at risk. So one of the things you always want to make sure to do is have nice straight pieces, so when you go to strip it, it just makes a nice easy cut, and we'll demonstrate on this piece of Romex right here. So again, sharp knife, hands away from the blade. This way you're cutting nice and clean, and you're cutting away from your body. So here's just a short example, nice and easy. You see how it cuts it. Once you unwrap it, you're going to see 3 pieces of copper coming out along with some paper. Now, one of the things that you want to learn about, you have this paper in here. That's just another layer, a barrier to protect the copper from getting wet, to protect the copper from kind of volting itself out. And here you see another piece individually wrapped on the piece of bare bright. So that's a piece of bare bright. Right off the bat, it's an easy win. So right now, if you just strip this outside jacket off and you did nothing else, you'll immediately get a piece of bare bright and 2 pieces of THHN. Now, if you still want to strip this down further, a couple of things we recommend if you're not using wire strippers. Gloves, gloves, gloves. You always want to have gloves on because these sharp knives will cut you. Second, you want to make sure that you have a blade that's sharp. If this blade had all nicks and dents on it, that's never going to be good. Now again, you want to be able to take this and you want to be able to kind of cut away. People have different tools that they've used before. People we've seen online, they have tools that allow them to put the Romex through. But now you can see that nice clean piece of copper shining through, and a lot of the times, depending on the size of Romex, you can just kind of peel this away and you'll be able to get this piece right off like you see here. So now we have 2 pieces of bare bright instead of just the one that we started with. Now when you have these different pieces of Romex, you want to be able to, again, keep your fingers away. You want to be able to strip away, and using a nice hard table, using a wood bench, a workbench, something like that, makes it so you can strip that plastic away, and then you'll be able to dispose of that along with the outside jacket and the different pieces of paper. Now, one thing you do want to look out for, there are different types of Romexes that when you look at the end here, the copper ground, they started to make them much cheaper. So here, this is not a good example, but there's Romex where this wire right here, instead of being copper, it's aluminum. So you really want to watch out for that, because if you go to sell this to your scrapyard as clean Romex and you didn't strip it down, if there's an aluminum ground inside, because that was less expensive to make, you're not going to get a clean Romex price. So again, those are just things to look for. Now let's say that you are going to strip this piece down. This is about a 10-foot piece, and it would be a lot of work to be able to have this spread against the table. So things that we recommend doing, taking a pair of snips, making these into manageable pieces, and then once you make them into manageable pieces, cut them down. This way you provide yourself less work and it makes it much easier. Now, some of the wire strippers that we will be able to show you, they will strip Romex down, and you may have to strip it twice just because, well, you have multiple jackets on here. 1 jacket, 2 jackets, and 3 jackets. So we've seen different scrappers use vices. We've seen people use different electric motors that they've been able to design themselves. But you want to be able to keep your hand away. You want to be able to strip it nice and clean, and then from there you can start to see it looks just like the other piece of yellow did. You have the bare wire, the ground, you have the black positive, you have the white negative, or vice versa. I'm not an electrician, but from here you'll be able to take these, again, use the table. You don't want to have your hand holding this because that's where you could get cut. And once you're able to go in there and you're able to get that piece stripped away, then you can take this, sell it as a bare bright, and you're able to make a couple of extra bucks. Now, not all scrap yards are going to insist or tell you that this is something that you should do. At Rockaway Recycling, we buy a lot of Romex from customers without it being stripped because it does take a lot of work when you look at these little pieces. So if you don't have a wire stripper, you may do extra work that won't make you extra money. If you have any other questions about stripping Romex, saving Romex, or how to make more money with anything, comment below.